what questions do you have? What would you like for me to talk about? This is your chance. Finally, you can ask a real question to a real monastic and not worry about being polite. Just ask whatever you want. I don't know that there's a secret. It's just, I know for myself, well, I like walking. So physically, I walk a lot. And I think that's really good. But I think the key is mentally. And I think it's because there's so many things that I want to do, different projects I want to do and complete. And, I want to contribute to society and contribute to the existence and the spread of the Buddhist teachings. And so I have a lot to live for, in the sense there's a lot of things that are of interest to me that, get me up in the morning. Yeah. And so, you age and your body can't do what it used to do. And in the last, I would say 3 years is when I've really started to feel it. And, I had to have a hip replacement. Now I have something with my back and arthritis. And, you know the storyline. But it's like, that's just the body. That's just the body. We aren't our bodies. And I find that if I just try and pace myself, according to what my body can do, then I'm able to do all the other things that I want to do. Yeah. Because I feel, when I was younger, there's so much learning and making many mistakes and everything. And now I feel, there's maybe, a little bit of wisdom coming just about life, And so maybe there's some of that I can share with younger people that would encourage them and energize them so that they would expand their lives, so that their life wasn't limited to something this big, yeah, but so that they really wanted to open their hearts and get to know what human beings are like. Yeah. And I see that as something that, we have to speak up about, because people are getting so infatuated with technology now that they forget how to relate to human beings. Yeah. I read about one couple that met on a dating site, and they were emailing back and forth, and then finally they decided to meet in person. But when they met in person, it just wasn't the same. So what they did is they went in different rooms and then emailed back and forth. I thought, what? That you prefer just doing things with machines rather than connecting with your heart with other living beings? Something's wrong with that. So, I really want to encourage people to think beyond tech. Yeah. And to really, because human beings are different than machines. And yes, I know you can teach a computer to write an essay. And yeah. So what? Yeah. Are we going to develop computers that then make good partners? So you marry a computer? Because your computer never criticizes you. You program them so that when you're in a bad mood, they always say, "Oh dear, I love you so much." And then you don't get mad at them, and you have a great marriage to a computer because they always say what you want. Is that what we want? The direction we want to go in? There's something so special about living beings who have minds, and we can develop our minds and our consciousnesses. We can become arhats, we can become bodhisattvas, we can become Buddhas, and this is much better than having a machine that just spouts everything. Yeah, really to treasure the part of ourselves that has a spiritual yearning. So this is something that I feel is important to convey to society and to young people. And in addition, to teach people the value of the Buddha's teachings, because there's nothing like it in society in terms of solving your problems and giving your life meaning. So this is something I feel quite strongly about. So I have a lot of energy to talk about that and spread that and try and live it. Yeah. So there's no secret, they haven't developed a pill, and, it's not by saying, a certain mantra a certain number of times. I mean, chanting mantra can help, but the real thing is changing inside. And then your age, I don't think it matters. I mean, I looked at my teachers, and some of them really got quite old. Even the Dalai Lama now, he's 88. Yeah, but they all have so much interest in life. And I think the Dharma gives you that interest and enthusiasm. Yeah, even though your body is getting weaker and, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think we have to really avoid the thought that, oh, I'm so old now, I can't do anything. Everybody, they want to hire all the young college graduates. What can I contribute? You can contribute a lot that the young college graduates don't have a clue about. Maybe not in terms of engineering and science, but about how to live life. Yeah. And how to live life is much more important than tech and science. Excuse me if I offend all the tech people and science people. Okay. Other questions? Yeah. Of karma, yeah. I think that's true. If you believe that. If you don't believe it, then you're not purifying or clearing any karma. But, my teachers have taught us that when we're sick or we have some big problem or whatever, yeah, to think, oh, this is some very heavy negative karma that I created in a past life. It's ripening now. It could have ripened in a lower rebirth, in a horrible, unfortunate realm for eons. But instead, that negative karma is ripening now in this life with some disease or some problem. And if you think like that, then you, in fact, are purifying the karma because you're changing your mind. Okay? The whole thing about practicing Dharma is changing the way we look at things. So to give you a few examples, I had a friend, a nun, who was doing retreat at the monastery in Nepal, and she got a big boil on her cheek, a big one, and it was so painful. And one day she was walking around the monastery, and she saw our teacher, and she was going up like, oh, look at this, it's so big. And our teacher said, wonderful, this is fantastic, and she's going, what? I don't think it's fantastic. And he said, just think that the karma that caused that boil could have ripened in your being born in the hell realm for a long time. But instead, it ripens like this. And this is something you can handle. Yeah, having back surgery and so on. It's not something we choose to do as a hobby, but you can handle it. You can handle it, and it's certainly better than some bigger suffering. Yeah, she's practicing that right now too. And if you think like that, then your suffering it's not the same. It's not something that like, oh, it's, I can manage this. I'm so glad this karma's ripening now. It's finishing. Whew. Yeah. So this is an individual decision, okay? On the part of the person. Yeah. The doctor, won't give them, won't kill it. But if you feel like that's what you want to do, then that's your decision. You also reap the karmic consequence of it.
But will you be also breaking the precept? Because if you do something and you kill it.
Yeah, it's breaking the precept. If you've taken the precepts,
right.
Yeah, then that's breaking the precept. But it's your decision if you feel that that is so unendurable that you have to do that. Um, it's the thing of taking personal responsibility. It might be breaking a precept, yeah, and I would prefer not to, and I don't really want to, so you may choose to just endure it. Or you may say, it's too difficult, I want to kill it, but I accept that I may have a bad rebirth because of that. Or I think it's good to think outside the box and explore other ways to make the worm come out. Because so often in situations, we make it very black and white, this or this. But often there's so much in between, okay? Um, we, at the Abbey, we live out in nature, so we get a lot of bugs. And, yeah, and one time, one of the small buildings outside had a lot of ants, just so many ants eating the wood and everything like that. And we didn't want to kill the ants. We tried to move them as much as we could to another place so they could live happily ever after somewhere else. But we couldn't get all of them. And then we discovered that there was a certain Tibetan practice for making offerings to different spirits, and that sometimes making these offerings could help if the ants were affiliated in some way with the spirits, it could help the situation. So we started doing this puja, uh, and the ants eventually went away. Okay. So, you try and think outside the box and not make it, this and this or that. And also, whatever our decision is, be responsible. Don't try and justify it and say, well, it's really okay to do that. No, I mean, if we were the worm, we wouldn't want somebody to kill us, But if you really decide, well, I just can't endure this, then at least do some, like I said, first try and think outside the box, find another way to do it without killing. Second, if you decide, that you can't endure that, then at least have compassion. Yeah. have compassion for the worm, and and have the commitment. May I, by practicing the Dharma well, have a stronger mind in future lives so that I don't break my precepts. And because I'm harming you in this life, in future lives, if I practice well now, may I meet you and may I teach you the Dharma and help you along the path. So at least you're doing that with a sense of regret and a sense of compassion for the bug, and making some promise, to benefit in the future. Yeah. Best, of course, is not to kill. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. But also be responsible for what you're doing, that there is the karma.
It's still killing.
Yes. Yeah. So you try, and by having good thoughts, at least modify the strength of the negativity. Yeah.
I had a similar case, but it was an insect into a patient seer. What we did, actually you flush the ear, I think comes out, you don't kill, and you actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So tell your friend to go to him. Yeah.
Because we're in the retreat, you see.
Yeah, so he leaves
in the mountain.
Okay. So, but
Now I know.
now you know.
So I
Yeah.
learned something.
Okay. So does the person want to follow the teacher? Do they have a close connection?
I'm not aware because this was.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the situation is somebody's in a lot of pain. The Dharma teacher says, don't give them.
Yeah, because they want to be able to seek money.
Yeah. Personally speaking, I wouldn't give instructions like that. I think it's good to explain the advantages and disadvantages of each decision and let the other person decide. Yeah, because I don't know everything about them. And also, I think patients want to have a sense of their own agency and make their own decisions, yeah, without feeling guilty. I do know, because I have some friends who work in hospice, that it is possible to mitigate the pain, and you probably know too, without making somebody just so out of it that they can't think. So, because also if the pain is too great, you can't have a lucid mind. Yeah, the pain just overwhelms it. So if there's some way to, you can use something to lessen the pain, so then the person's mind is as clear as it can be, even though there's something with the drug. Yeah, that's my position, and I would, put that again to the person. What do they prefer? So again, it depends on the person, on their level of practice. For some people, they say, oh, the pain is not that great. I understand it's from my negative karma. This is fine. Other people, the slightest little thing, and they're like, ah! And so those people have to make a different decision. We have to think in every situation is very individual. When the Buddha taught, he gave us broad precepts and broad guidelines of how to practice and how to live. But applying it in a situation takes a lot of wisdom. And I think this is, for some people, they just like, do this, don't do that. They don't want to think about it. Okay, for those people, that's what you give them. Do this, don't do that. But for other people, it's like there's so many different factors going into something. And, there's no one right answer because it depends on the individual person and their way of thinking, their level of practice, the family situation, so many different factors. Yeah, we like things that are simple, that we don't need to think about. Yeah, and life is not like that. Yeah, so each situation we encounter is an opportunity to really think about different factors and how they play in and what would be the best thing to do in this situation. Mm-hmm. Okay, the teacher may say that, then the person has to think, how severe is the pain? Is the pain so severe that I can't think? Yeah, because sometimes if you have really intense pain, your mind is, clouded. So that person has to think, is this so intense that I really can't deal with it, that I'm going to get angry? And, if I get angry, then I'm even going to create more negative karma. In which case, yes, you take some medicine to modify the pain. It's not a big deal. There's nothing negative about taking pain medicine. Taking pain medicine is not breaking a precept. Yeah. I had, a hip replacement. They put me to sleep when they did the surgery. Yeah. Am I creating negative karma by that? Is the doctor creating negative karma? Yeah. Maybe the doctor should have cut cut me open with no anesthesia. Yeah. Oh, I would have been a great patient. He's taken the knife here and it hurts like hell and I'm screaming. Is that going to help anybody? There's no negative karma in taking an anesthesia, when you have surgery. After the surgery, they gave me a prescription for narcotics. I threw it away because I know my body and I'm not going to take narcotics, and I know I won't need narcotics. Yeah. So I took ibuprofen. Yeah. And so at the first few days, because I had to stand up and walk, they want you to walk the same day as the surgery. So I was taking ibuprofen and walking, and it still hurt, but I felt really good. Oh, I'm recovering and I'm exercising those muscles. And then gradually I needed less and less ibuprofen. I did not confess taking ibuprofen. There's nothing in the precepts that says don't take ibuprofen. Okay. If I was taking an opioid that was addictive and I was really liking the sensation, ooh, that's breaking the fifth precept. Okay, because the Buddha said no intoxicants. But ibuprofen doesn't make you intoxicated. Have you taken ibuprofen? It's just, it's not a big deal. I would take it and then I'd forget I took it. Yeah, because I didn't feel any kind of mental effect from that. Okay? Yeah. I think, like I said, situations, so many factors. It's really difficult. Another situation that comes up where it's difficult is when a woman has a pregnancy that, that maybe the fetus died in the womb. So do you have an abortion or not? Yeah. Or maybe the fetus isn't dead in the womb, but it's very ill. And if it was born, like some babies, in the womb, they don't have the top of their head. If they're born, they only live 10, 15 minutes. So do you have an abortion or not? Yeah. So these are very delicate questions, and people are going to have to think themselves about them. In the States now, the legislatures are, they overturned the right for abortion, and they say now, they want to make abortion completely illegal. But then I think, of a woman who is carrying a child who died in the womb, and they're making her carry that child for 2 or 3 or 4 more months, even though there's no possibility of it being born alive. To me, that's cruel. Yeah. Or they also say you can only have the abortion if the woman's life is in danger. Well, doctors can tell in advance if maybe it's not this bad yet, but if this situation continues, her life is going to be in danger. But they're saying, no, in that condition, the baby's still alive, you can't have an abortion. She has to be almost dying before they'll have the abortion. Then you think, well, is it better to let her die because that's following the law? But she has 2 other kids at home. And so you're going to make that, the baby, let's say, is not going to live more than 10 or 20 minutes after it's born. The woman may die. And then what about the other kids at home? We don't care about them, that they're losing their mother? So you see, situations are not so simple. And we really have to think in the long term, about karma, about compassion, so many things. Yeah. I had one time, there was one young man who came to ask me questions, and I forgot what the question was now, but I said, well, according to the Theravada tradition, this is the answer. And according to the Sanskrit tradition, this is the answer. And he said, which one is right? And I said, it depends on how you're looking at it and, how you're understanding it. And he said, just tell me which one is right. And I said, I can't do that. Yeah, things are too complicated. Oh, well, my long-term motivation is to become a fully awakened Buddha. Am I going to attain that in this life? I don't think so. Probably not. But it's very helpful in my life to have an aspiration that goes long-term. Because if there's a long-term aspiration, then when there's bumps in the road, I don't fall apart. It's just, I keep going because I know this is going to take a while. Yeah? So that's my aim. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Does it hurt to aspire to be a Buddha? Is there something negative about that? So that's okay. That's them. If it's too much for them, that's fine. Leave them be. They attain arhatship. That's great. That's fantastic. I rejoice. Yeah. But then other people may say, oh, but if I have the potential to become a Buddha and really benefit sentient beings like a Buddha does, then yeah, I want to do that. So for those people, then they make that decision and follow a teacher that teaches that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody can follow the Sravaka path to arhatship, become an arhat, and then later, if they generate bodhicitta, the aspiration for full awakening, in order to benefit others most effectively, then they can practice the Mahayana path that leads to full Buddhahood. No problem with that. I think personally, it's better not. Okay. Um, the, people often ask that question regarding pets and sometimes regarding parents. Yeah. And sometimes they may have a parent who says, I don't want to live if I have dementia. I want to, assisted suicide. So in that kind of case, I would first, talk with that person and see what they were thinking and present, if, it's if you can endure, it's good to just remain alive and put more Dharma imprints on your mind. I'm assuming the person is a Buddhist. If they were another religion, I would say something different. But with a Buddhist, I would say, your life can still be meaningful, even if you're half asleep, because you're in hospice or whatever. Still, you can have chanting in the background, you can play Dharma teachings in the background. That puts good seeds on your mind. And then in the next life, those seeds will ripen and then you can learn the Dharma. So, if you can endure it, really try and see the benefits of staying alive longer. Now, if somebody, this wasn't the case, but let's say my parents said to me, we want you to euthanize us. Yeah, I would have said, Mom and Dad, I'm really sorry. That goes against my sense of morality. I cannot do that. Yeah. And I would feel perfectly okay. And if they really want assisted suicide, they can ask somebody else, but there's no way I'm going to participate in that. Yeah, basically it is. Yeah. And then they're wanting family members to help kill them. Yeah. So I don't think that that's karmically, I think it's better to avoid that. And also with pets, some people ask me, their dog or their cat is very old and now is suffering. And so they say, I want to euthanize it. And same here, I say, because we have pets at the Abbey. And we had two cats who died at the Abbey. We didn't euthanize them. We stayed with them while they were dying in the dying process. We chanted. We gave Dharma instructions. It was very interesting because it happened during a retreat. So a lot of people were at the Abbey and everybody got involved and, taking shifts, sitting with the cat, doing chanting. And it was really beautiful. Yeah. And, the cat was having seizures and so on. But eventually the body just gave up. I don't think so, you know, because withholding something is uh, is just not treating it. If in your mind was saying, I want the person to die, I want the person to die, then that there would be negativity. But if your mind is saying, the person asked not to be treated, and so it's just withholding the treatment, and we can still give them love and care and talk to them about loving kindness and all the virtuous things they did in their life. I personally speaking, I think that's okay. Yeah. 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 Because people want some sense of agency, not to have everybody else making their decisions for them, even when, they're in the dying process. Organ donation? Yeah, but we talk about this a lot. I think, again, it depends on the individual. Yeah. Some people feel very strongly that they want to give their organs so that somebody else can live. Great. I think that's fantastic. Good. Okay. The doctors usually do the surgery to remove the organ right after the breath stops, right? Yeah. And so if you feel comfortable with that, I think it's great to donate an organ to somebody else. Other people feel that, it depends a lot on how you die. And if you're just having a death where, you're lying in bed, it's not a sudden death, or you're not on the, in the middle of surgery, something like that, then some other people may feel, I don't want them to start operating as soon as my breath stops, because I feel like there needs to be some time for for the consciousness to actually stop functioning, and the consciousness absorb, and the consciousness to leave the body. So I don't want the surgery so soon that it would interrupt that process of the consciousness leaving. So that's that person's decision. Fine. Yeah. So I think it depends on the individual what they want to do. It depends on the person, how long they've been sick, what's, from the view of having internal chi. Yeah. It depends on the state of your chi and how soon the chi starts to absorb, how the consciousnesses start to function. I can't say, it's going to be 5 hours and 3 minutes and 29 seconds. It's, it's going to vary person to person. They do say that in many cases, one way to tell that the consciousness is left is if there's a little bit of blood that comes out of the nose and a little bit of a white substance that comes out of the lower area. So they say that's a way to tell that the consciousness is left. Some people stay, the consciousness stays in the body for a while. Other people, it leaves very quickly. My preceptor, who gave me my first ordination, he, of course, he was highly realized. So he had, many powers, but he stayed, he was in meditation position when he was dying, and he stayed like that, yeah, for 13 days. And then on the last day, the consciousness left, and then his head slumped like that. And they knew at that point that his consciousness had left. Yeah, but 13 days, I mean, what was he doing? He was meditating. Yeah, I don't think most of us can do that. Yeah. But, some people, the mind stays in the body longer. And so it's good just to let that happen. I think his thing was foremost in terms of his own practice, but also if other people knowing that such a thing was possible, if that would inspire them to purify their mind and practice the Dharma, he would be all for that. It actually, something to do. It depends on your merit and on your wisdom and on your ability and your sensitivity to the subtle body and how that works. I think it's better to ask the people who do that. I can't speak on how other people do these kind of unusual things. I can't answer that. I have no knowledge about that. We all know that we're going to die, okay? We don't know when. So that the fact is, it's not that knowing when you're going to die is a big thing. The thing is, not knowing when we're going to die makes us use our precious human life while we have it. Okay? So, death could come at any time. So why waste my time doing frivolous activities or meaningless activities? It's much better if I use my time studying the Dharma and contemplating it, meditating on it, doing things that benefit other sentient beings. If I do things like that, then whenever death comes, it's fine. I'm ready because I've lived my life in a way that I feel good about. Yeah. And I haven't just kind of said, yeah, Dharma's nice. I'll do it tomorrow morning. Yeah. Or Dharma's really nice. I'll go on the retreat next year. Uh, So, that mind that procrastinates and thinks that somehow, death won't happen to us, and we're kind of special. Um, I've been practicing Pure Land, so when I die, Amitabha's going to appear and say, come on, we're going to the Pure Land and take my hand. I don't know. I can't say what's going to happen, but I can know that if I spend my life creating merit and collecting merit and collecting wisdom, then when I die, I'm not going to have any regrets. And then whatever happens, I'll flow with it. I learned that a lot of people had a lot of suffering, physical and mental, because of COVID. Personally speaking, it didn't affect me much. We closed the monastery, except for a few people, and we just continued doing our practice. Most of the teachings went online. We weren't having retreats where people came, but we had teachings online, and so our website really expanded. Uh, yeah, but I saw a lot of people, it was very confusing for them because they couldn't go out and do the usual things they like to do. And we don't like change. Yeah. Or put it this way, we like change when we decide to have the change. We don't like change that happens to us. Okay. So I saw that for many people it was very difficult not to be able to do the things that they liked doing, that they were used to doing. Yeah. In terms of learn, what did I learn? You know, personally speaking, just I don't feel like I had any great lesson from it at all. Except, okay, what I did learn is that countries should cooperate more, that presidents should tell the truth when there's a pandemic. They should not lie to the public. Yeah,
We are not practicing Buddhist.
that's for sure. You know, that we should respect the healthcare workers because they were risking their lives to save many people. And that's quite important to really appreciate them. And, you know, the people who invented the vaccines, thank you very much. You know, I think that we should not make those kind of healthcare decisions politics. In America, this got very political. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you're taking vaccines. That's terrible. Don't you know that they're all fake and you should take Clorox? You know, yeah, no, there were people saying that one horse tranquilizer, take this horse tranquilizer. It's a great medicine. You know, it will cure you of COVID. What I learned is don't do that. You know, don't invent stupid things to deceive other people. Yeah, and if you hear some rumor, check it out and see if it's really true. And if it's not true, don't spread it. Because, you know, people, I mean, some of us were just laughing so hard, you know, taking Clorox. You know, you clean your floor and then you drink some, oh, you take a swig of Clorox. You know, we should have respect for other people and not invent these stupid things, you know, these conspiracy theories that are detrimental. Yeah, that is something I learned that I feel quite strong about. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's good to trust experts, you know, because experts know more about that thing than I do. Yeah, if they're a good expert. If they're a quack expert, let them quack somewhere else.